music album does well, it's an invitation for a great opening. The first time I fell in love was when I was 7 years old. It was a girl called Sally. Sally. Sitting down there in those same places that we used to play, hoping that she would come back, but that didn't happen. You don't want to like mess around with that thing. So that was my girlfriend, that was my love, my life, my wife, Malaika. A breakup can be a damn good thing. It can be a thing that is actually, you find your life partner with. Writing like her name with this blood on the wall, and I was like, dude, you're scaring me, man, stop it. I used to fall in lust every other day. I think there was just so much to look around. There's so many choices. You were spoiled for choice. It was like a buffet every day, Shahrukh's been like an elder brother, and he's one of the people I admire, respect.
We broke up.
क्यों?
मैंने slightly और perfect option को पहचान लिया ना. Being single.
Hi, this is Zayed Khan, and you're watching Bollywood Hungama.
Well, we have with us the man in black, Zayed Khan, whose film Love Breakups Zindagi is releasing shortly, and the entire team is totally pumped up about the film, the promotions, and that one should go and see it. We'll speak to Zayed and more about the film. And the other news is that his second baby is coming up very, very shortly as well. So double Mubarak aapko pehli baat.
Two productions on the way.
On the way. Pleasure having you back on Bollywood Hungama. We'll start with your baby first of all. 10 days to go, you're saying?
Yeah, another 10 days. We all are very excited. As you can see, there's a buzz in the air, there's a buzz in the office, there's a buzz at home. So everywhere I go, I'm just like helter-skelter, and I keep coming back, and I'm like, Diya, myself and Sahil say that, I hope it happens at the same time and stuff like that. I said, Diya, stop talking like that. I don't want it to happen at the same time. Let me give time to both of them.
7th October, दोनों चीज़ें एक साथ.
उसकी जो एक ख्वाहिश थी कि 7th October की क्यों ना हो जाए. It's just very auspicious that, it's happening at the same time. It was never, like, we were initially thinking that, our film will release 2 months prior, but now it's happened 2 months later, and, lots of good things on the way, yeah.
How's your son anticipating? Your son is looking forward to it?
I think my son is, he's just looking at my mom, and he's like, Mama, when are we going for my sibling's birthday? And the last time I took him to Breach Candy for a year checkup, he comes into Breach Candy and he's like, have we come to pick up our baby? I said, no, we've come for a year checkup, but we'll come back to the same hospital for picking up your siblings, so don't worry.
Your wife will be delivering, but at the same time, you are about to deliver as well. Your film, Love Breakups Zindagi. So, how's the feeling? The promos have been generating interesting responses. Even the industry has been quite supportive of late.
Faridoon, the way I look at it is that, we are an underdog in the entire gambit of things, and I think we have come across as very sincere, and I think our music has given us the impetus to understand that yes, it's catching up very nicely. There's a great buzz, there's a great interest in it, and of course it's a very fresh film. That's the kind of adjectives we've been like hearing all across the grid, whether it's on the internet or anything else. So yeah, we are like really excited to see what's going to come out. The music just released already. We've got some great reviews for our music, and we are really looking forward, because as you know, yeah, when a music album does well, it's an invitation for a great opening. So we are excited. We want to know what the reality of it is going to be on the 7th of October. But as you can see, the office is really, really buzzing. There are like 17,000 things happening at the same time, and that's always a good sign.
Let's just talk about love, breakups and Zindagi in your personal life. When was it when you just fell in love for the first time? Not infatuation, actually fell in love.
Okay.
When it was reciprocated as well.
The first time I fell in love was when I was 7 years old. It was a girl called Sally. She was Sally. She was my neighbor, and her father was a British airline a pilot, and her mother was Malaysian. And the reason I fell in love with her is because she was like this tomboy. She could practically do everything we boys could do, like climb up trees and make catties out of guava trees and like, you know, play football. And I was just like, wow, man, this girl is so cool and so amazing. I just fell in love with her. But I was only sad to understand that one day when I came back, she left and her parents had shifted, and I think I was most disappointed. It was my first like breakup in some sort of way, and I was just sitting down there in those same places that we used to play, hoping that she would come back, but that didn't happen. So Sally, if you're out there, I still remembered you. You were my first crush.
Fantastic. And your breakup and love happened simultaneously almost.
Happened simultaneously. It was one of those things.
When was it that you really fell in love in the sense that you can really relate to it? You know that कुछ chemicals blow होते हैं. all those
Chemicals. वो हुआ when I was in Kodi. I was sitting Kodi International School. There's this social place where everybody sits called Flag Green. It's a place where everybody comes and has coffee and, you know, kind of chit chats and stuff like that. And I saw this lovely girl, you know, who was facing backwards to me, and she was pointing out to something or calling some of her friends. And you know, you fall in love with somebody in your mind. You have this perfect girl in your mind, and I think you know, they say love at first sight. I actually believe it's true. Because you have had a relationship with this person in your mind, and then suddenly you see this person in real life. I was just like, that's impossible, right? And I remember telling my friend, I was like, I nudged him. I was listening to U2, Where the Streets Have No Name, and I nudged him and I said, Andy, who's that girl? And he's like, forget it, just don't. I said, what do you mean forget it? Who's that girl? Sure. She's already dating somebody right now. You don't want to like mess around with that thing. So that was my girlfriend, that was my love, my life, my wife, Malaika. And,
okay.
And that was my first love, my first love. It was, everything happened. It was like, you know, you're starting to write love letters every time. I mean, that time we didn't have email facilities as you know, in dorms and stuff, no Wi-Fi, no mobile phones that could like, you know, send messages from dorm to dorm. So it was all about writing. And I think it was amazing because, you know, I think what you write in a letter and when you post these things to each other, I think there's a different kind of romance out there.
Yeah.
That happens.
Talking about Love Breakups Zindagi, in your personal life, when you just look back, do you feel, because you know, many a cases, I think it's a universal feeling that many a times breakups, they actually teach you a lot about life.
Correct.
They teach you a lot about life, like say how to just go into your professional space and everything, because many a times when the breakups happen, one just gets back with a vengeance.
Not everybody all the time finds the right person. I think in this really busy and, you know, career motivated life that we live in, and I think, you know, career has become more important than love, and money has become more important than relationships. You know, I think what tends to happen is breakups can be a thing that redefines who you like or who you love. Breakups can be a good thing. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. I think sometimes you are with a person that you're trying to work things out with. You know, you don't meet eye to eye on things, and you know, it becomes stressful, and you know, you all don't have similarities, and you know, you all probably just fell in love with each other because of your good looks, or you know, one person was better in basketball and the other person was just popular amongst the girls. But you know, sometimes when you break up with the person, you might find the right person for you right around the corner. So a breakup can be a damn good thing. It can be a thing that is actually, you know, you find your life partner with, and if hadn't you broken up, you would have been stuck with a compromise for the rest of your life. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is I've seen people go suicidal on breakups, right?
Yeah, that's true. Many times when one looks back at those moments, I think it happens with everyone if you're honest about it. So, but अभी अब लगता है क्या बेवकूफ़ी के thoughts थे, लेकिन ये है कि
लेकिन वो जब chemicals जब अंदर जाते हैं, chemicals, तो आदमी कुछ भी कर सकता है, कुछ भी कर बैठते हैं. I know of a roommate of mine that, you know, this girl broke up with him, and he was so like in love with this girl, he started cutting himself and like, you know, writing like her name with this blood on the wall, and I was like, dude, you're scaring me, man, you know, stop it. But you know, he was a perfectly okay guy. It wasn't like he was mad or crazy. It was just that, you know, this love, this thing made him do things that today we laugh about, you know, when I meet him. And I'm like, do you remember that time you did that silly thing? He's like, yeah, don't talk about that shit, you know, like I don't want to...
It taught him about Zindagi, in fact. Let's have a revelation today.
चलो.
आपके कुछ ऐसे मतलब moments which you have never maybe disclosed to anyone? Any of your maybe infatuation it can be, or just felt for some girl or something that you've never disclosed maybe,
Let's face it, at the end of the day, I did go to university, okay? And in university, a lot of things happen. A lot of the time, I've always said Dia's the one who breaks up more often than I do. But quite honestly, I had a roller coaster of a ride in university. I used to fall in lust every other day.
Now that is, I want to listen to that. Please carry on.
I used to fall in lust every other day. I think there was just so much to look around. There's so many choices. You were spoiled for choice. It was like a buffet every day, Everybody out there in university, they were all up for, going with the flow, seeing how it goes, No real commitment. It was all about, 2 dates and then, some intimate stuff, and then, probably you move on to the next person because it just doesn't work out. So I think I've had generally, okay, fine, if I have to put it, there have been a lot of people I might have dated that I don't even remember. And that's a really sad thing, and I shouldn't be saying that, but that's the truth.
Do you feel at times that even casual relationships at times they can turn serious?
I think we put a lot of stress on the fact that on relationships, a perfectly good friendship can turn into a relationship, and there's that old thing that boys and girls can't be friends. Well, the thing is that today we live in a world where we accept so much more in the construct of friendship than we ever used to. I can say that. Yeah, man, I think casual relationships are good if you don't want the hassle of saying, oh, if I'm going into the relationship, I have to commit.
Commitment, basically.
I think a lot of people are commitment phobic, and I think a lot of people don't want to be, they don't want a monkey on their back all the time. I think some people like to see what commonalities they have, and then probably a year or 2 years into it feel like, oh my God, I really like this guy. And see how this guy reacts to the fact that, I have a relationship with other guys. Does he still take it? Because then you can see the solidness of a person, right? You can see that, he's not the kind of person who's jealous or who's intimidated. And I think girls like to generally see a lot more than, what's the superficial.
Girls like to test all the time.
Yeah, man, they always.
हर वक्त के हिसाब से आपका टेस्ट होता रहता है कि ये सही है, हाँ, अच्छा हाँ, ये this means that.
ये बड़ी interesting चीज़ है क्योंकि मैं, it's like I remember my father telling me, he grew up with 5 boys, five brothers, and his mother was the only one who was taking care of them because my grandfather died when he was 10. So he used to tell me that how. His mother they dote on their mother, my dadi ma, and how his mother used to make these kids, feel like they have to better do one-upmanship, who treats the mother the best,
Right.
And I think it's just generally in women, women, they will not say that, that guy said this to me. They will say very indirectly to you to see how you react. And they will say things like, oh, did you know that person said this, and I got to know through somebody else that he said this about me. And if you're like, really, he said that, I think they get a little kick out of it. They want to see how interested the guy is still. And it tends to happen not the first year around, or the second year, probably into the third year when the magic is over of the romance, to create that magic back into the romance. I think women generally are very political. Let's face it. I think, queens have been more responsible for, the slaying of kingdoms than kings themselves have.
Okay, now tell us something that you're an actor. You've been in the movie industry for the longest period of time. Your family has been in movies as well. Any possibility of just infatuation? We've seen relationships between actors and actresses.
Let's face it, Faridoon, it's inevitable that there are times when actors might get attracted to actresses, and vice versa. I mean, we don't live in a world where we are in an office 9 to 5, or we have fixed set of rules and we have to work within company norms. I mean, our business is chemistry. Our business is to evoke reactions. Our business is to make the other person feel that you're in love. I mean, we come dressed up like superstars every day on the set, only to look good and feel good and perform great and get the other person to get a sensation for what we are doing. At the end of the day, we're only human. You know, there's bound to be attraction sometimes, and there are bound to be things that people don't want to talk about, you know. But I'm not saying that that has to happen. I'm saying there's some people who manage it brilliantly. I think there's some co-stars who look up to the other co-stars because they can be professional when they have to and be a perfect friend when they have to.
Sure.
You know, it doesn't happen, but it generally tends to happen to the younger ones, the younglings, as I call them. You know, they come in and, you know, they have this picture of what Bollywood is, and you know, and how one has to be, and the fame gets to them, and the attention gets to them, and they have to be everywhere, from signing up for jewelry and cars and, you know, fast moving you know, FMGC products. You know, it gives them a sense of invincibility, and they generally tend to attach that to their sex appeal. You know, your sex appeal plays such a large part in how you're perceived, how you can talk, the subjects you can talk about. So yeah, when you're a bachelor, you tend to, you know, want everybody to like you. When you're a spinster, you want everybody to like you. It's part of your brownie points. It's part of what people pay you for. It's part of why all the girls go absolutely mad and why the boys go absolutely mad.
You said about sex appeal and all. What is the importance of sex in love and breakups, and what it teaches about Zindagi?
You know, let's face it, I think
Many times the breakups happen because of fidelity.
correct. I mean, there are flaws. I mean, generally, we as human beings, we are born with a certain set of flaws, and that's got nothing to do with who we are or the kind of civilized person we want to be. There is an animalistic instinct inside of us, which is sometimes out of control. You know, when it comes out when you're either very hungry or you're starved of sex. I mean, I know of people who are asexual and stuff like that and whatever, but these are two determining factors of what makes a person as well.
Sure.
That's just a factual truth. That's a scientific truth. You know, it's got nothing to do with me saying it. You know, we base and pitch ourselves on our sex appeal. I mean, the fact that some person wants to come and talk to you could be the very fact that she finds you attractive. You know, I mean, she's not going to look into the person you are all of a sudden, and there's something very interesting. Probably she finds your eyes interesting, the fact that you nod your head like that. So she wants to come and, like, you know, find out what's in that mind, you know. And let's face it, it's just a general thing, you know. A lot of people say, I want to fall in love with the person. But before that, you fall in love with the physicality, something that is, you know, sexually transmitted. You know, there are pheromones that women have and pheromones that men send out. And it's what we call an extrasensual perception. You know, the sixth sense, you know, that's always awakened. It's like the unconscious. It's like when your heart beats, you don't control it, right? The sixth sense, you don't control. It's just there around, you feel it. So in love and in breakups, it's all part of it. Some people feel that, you know, they are very attracted to people, and then over a period of time, they feel, oh, the mechanics are not working. So they...
I think आपकी chemistry के फंडे बहुत clear हैं. काफी आपने
बहुत clear.
अच्छे तरीके से आपने काफी must have been a good student and all.
I was a great student.
Shahrukh Khan there in the film, he's doing a cameo?
Something like that.
Something like that, मतलब शाहरुख खान हो सकते हैं. अब मैं हूँ ना आपके, तो पुराना आप लोगों के साथ में आपका equation है.
You know, I can only say that Shahrukh's been like an elder brother, and he's one of the people I admire, respect. I've been a great fan of his when I was in school, and I remember him always telling me, you know, when I came into a twist, even while doing Main Hoon Na with, he used to be very sweet, and he used to take me to the side, and he was like, Zayed, forget who you're working with right now, forget everything, you know. Let me just tell you one thing. As an actor, try not loving yourself so much, you know. It's the flaws in your performance as a character that the audience will relate to. Try being just natural about them, you know. That's the most important thing. Enjoy the acting. Forget the camera angles. Forget how to say lines thick. You know, and these are just words of wisdom from a guy who's seen it all. And of course, you know, I have great regard. I love him to death. And respect for him, and we still have PlayStation like challenging games, you know. So yeah, it's amazing.